Named after a demon from the Ars Goetia, Gundam Barbatos truly is a mecha worthy of such a demonic moniker. Now enter the Master Grade Gundam Barbatos. Solid, posable, gorgeous. This does everything the 1/100 and the high resolution failed to do, and more. Honestly though, I might be a bit on the biased side because I love the Barbatos so much, but for me, this is a Gundarium tier gunpla, so let's find out why. Hey, what is up everyone, and I totally kept you waiting for this one, I know that. This just arrived a couple of days ago. You can blame the Christmas post, but this of course is the Master Grade Gundam Barbatos from the absolutely awesome Iron-Blooded Orphans. Of course, once again, this video right here would not be possible without those absolutely awesome people over at Hobby Link Japan. So if you're looking for a Master Grade Gundam Barbatos of your own, or for any of your gunpla needs, check out that link down there in the description. But anyway, let's get right into this. So this right here is exactly what the Master Grade Gundam Barbatos looks like out of the box, snapped together with a little bit of extra effort, and all that is some panel lining. And because I like this kit so much, I even panel lined the back for a change. Yep, pat self on back. And it goes without saying that this Gundam right here is absolutely and utterly gorgeous. They've done this absolute justice. So before I actually get into all the little bits of detail etc. that's on the Master Grade Barbatos right here, I will mention that this isn't Bandai's first foray into a 1/100 version of this particular version, which is the 4th version of Barbatos. So before the Master Grade, we had the 1/100 Gundam Barbatos 4th form, as well as the High Resolution Gundam Barbatos 4th form, both of which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. They're absolutely nothing compared to this right here. And honestly, when it comes to 1/100 Barbatoses, that isn't even it. We have another high resolution, as well as the 1/100's full mechanics, Lupus and Lupus Rex, and I'm pretty sure there's another one as well somewhere that I don't have. But anyway, there's a lot, and none of them are particularly great. They're all okay in their own right, really, but none of them are perfect. But speaking of the ones that are 4th forms, the 1/100 is incredibly basic. It's not awful, but it is very, very basic and a bit of an underwhelming build. Also, I will mention, after a few years, it has loosened up quite a bit and is just a bit of a nightmare to touch. As for the 1/100 high resolution 4th form of Barbatos, this is without a doubt definitely beautiful. Some people will not be the biggest fan of the fact that this is a bit of a redesign, looks a bit glitzied up, but looks aside, this thing is horrendous. I did say back in the original review that it was okay, but this has aged so badly, worse than the 1/100, that I will not even touch this. I won't even touch it for a joke. I'm afraid this thing will just spontaneously explode. It's that bad. And it's all because of that internal figure has just turned to butts. Absolute poopy butts. Yeah, what can I say? It's just downright shitty. But I will mention once again, it is beautiful. So enter the 2019 Master Grade Gundam Barbatos 4th form. So while I talk about the particular details on this particular model kit, I'm going to compare it to the other two kits while giving a bit of information. So first off, compared to the 1/100, no more stickers. I will mention though, I did put the stickers on the eyes. That is only because these pop a lot better in a video than the actual clear parts that are in behind it. But the eyes are color separated in a clear green underneath that, which looks fantastic in person, just doesn't catch on video that well. But yeah, instead of those absolutely horrible stickers that we got in the 1/100, which I'm surprised are actually still on mine at this point, we've got some nice color separated, clear pink parts. The only little letdown with these, I feel, is I would have liked if Bandai included some of those foil stickers like we saw with the age kits for putting on the back of them to make them catch the light a little bit better than they do, because right out of the box like this, they do look a little bit on the dull side. They are fantastic, but I recommend chroming up the back side of those so they reflect that light back out. And that is exactly what Bandai has done on the high resolution right here. As you can see, these catch the light very nicely because they do have a kind of chromy silver part or paint behind those, which will really reflect that light out. That looks nice, and I recommend doing that to the Master Grade Barbie right here. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't mention this one first, but the general silhouette look and the height of the Master Grade looks so much nicer than the 1/100. It's a good deal taller. And also that big flared V-fin, I adore that. It also looks to be somewhat a little tiny little bit higher than the high resolution, but it definitely looks bigger and buffer and all around more powerful than the high res. There's a whole lot of functional aspects that are very different from the Master Grade compared to the older 1/100 we would have seen so many years ago. And one of the biggest, most noticeable one right out of the box visually is the pistons. If you like pistons, then you will love the Master Grade Gundam Barbatos. It's got a whole load of them, and the runner which the pistons come on is already painted for you in a nice silver, very nice silver. However, I will just mention at this point right here that they painted the silver runner, but they did the golds on this kit in a horrible injection gold. They should have painted them the exact same way they painted the silver. It would have looked so much nicer, but still, you don't really see the gold all that often, really. It's just on the inner frame, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, all these pistons look absolutely fantastic, and compared to the 1/100, these are all functional. They do move when the Barbatos moves, but once again, we'll talk about movements later on. If I was to talk about the pistons on the high res, these do move as well, but they only move when it's not falling apart, and honestly, this thing, 90% of the time, it's just falling apart. So that's enough about that. Not talking about that anymore. Those look beautiful though. Honestly though, compared to the old 1/100, there's so much we could say about the Master Grade Barbatos. So many things, from panel lines, to structural redesigns here and there, to moving parts we did not see on the 1/100, etc. There's so much to say, but at the end of the day, this is a whole different level of kit. So much nicer than both the 1/100 and the high-res combined. It is that nice and that good. So finally, I will let you guys make your own decisions here. I'm going to put a spin of each of these guys, all three of them, side by side. That's the 1/100 on the left, the Master Grade we're talking about today in the middle, and the high resolution right there on the right. Once again, all of these kits are completely different. They have their own pros and cons, except maybe the Master Grade. I don't know about any cons yet. So basically, to sum them up, if you are looking to buy, the cheapest one as far as I know is the 1/100, if it's still even available anymore. That's the one on the left. It's cheap, it's basic. If you want to play around with something, maybe test some painting or something like that, that's what I'd recommend that one for. It's not really all that fun of a build, and the finished product out of box isn't the greatest. The high res on the right there looks great. The first time you build it, it does feel fine, but it loosens up over time and becomes an absolute time bomb. It's going to fall apart all the time on you. The only thing I could recommend with this is building it once, popping it on your shelf and going, that's a nice looking Gundam. But as for the Master Grade, it takes all the best parts of both, jumbles them all together into one fantastic thing, and we haven't even scratched the surface of this yet. As for a size comparison, there it is beside the Master Grade Granddaddy 3.0, as well as the high grade version of the Gundam Barbatos. Before I continue on, I will mention some absolutely fantastic news. First off, this right here is what the inner frame looks like. So it does look pretty cool. There's a lot of nice detail. All those parts that were stickers on the 1/100, that is the gold sections, they are all in metallic injection gold. Would have been nicer to get some painted gold, which does look a little bit better than injection, but still, it's pretty awesome. The detailing is fantastic, and the best thing about this frame is absolutely none of the parts on it, well, besides one or two, say Gundam Barbatos on the runner. They all say Gundam frame. So like you can see right here, 1/100 Gundam Frame. So you know what that means? If it was exclusively for using with Barbatos, any form of Barbatos, it would just say Barbatos on it, like the other ones do. So any arguments made like, oh, it could be for using on the Lupus or the Lupus Rex, or the 6th form, etc. Well, they could have just wrote Barbatos on it still, right? Right? I'm not just grasping at straws here. There is the chance of other Master Grade Gundams. Hopefully, here's hoping. So now moving on to the accessories, and here's the Master Grade Barbatos with absolutely everything that it comes with. And this comes with exactly what you'd want. So first I will mention there is no extra parts for changing it to any of the other forms, but what we do get in here is the smooth bore gun, the mace, sword, 3 pairs of fingers, 2 little backpack adapters, the base adapter, and a little Mikazuki. So as for the hands in here, these are the swappable finger style. So these are your generic basic Master Grade hands that you get nowadays. We do have a movable thumb here, but just the one outstretched thumb. But as for the fingers we get, that is some widespread dynamic ones like this, fists like this, and weapon holding hands like this. Simple and effective. So going through the weapons one by one now, first off is the sword. This looks fantastic. They have color separated the guard section here into this white part, but all in all this looks nice. The proportions are fantastic. It's long, slender, strong looking, and we've got a lot of very nice detail along its length. This is all pretty cool. Also, the detailing is that kind of, I don't know how you describe it, kind of like stylized power symbol. So that's pretty cool. And there is a little bit of detail on the guard section there, but I haven't panellined that. But all in all, simple and awesome looking. Anyway, there is a quick dynamic pose of what the Master Grade Barbatos will look like equipped with that sword. And all in all, this looks absolutely savage. Seriously, what is better than a Gundam with a sword? Absolutely nothing. Except maybe a giant mace, that is. So this mace right here, that iconic quintessential Barbatos mace, has been given a bit of a redesign in here. It's less blunt and heavy looking, and now it looks a little bit on the sharper side. This definitely looks a lot more detailed and a lot more unique than what we would have seen before. Detail wise, it is quite nice. It doesn't have as many small, intricate, tiny details as what we would have seen on the sword, but it still looks very, very nice. This hides some absolutely awesome new features like this here pile bunker, which can poke out the end just like this. This is also rocket powered, so these little venti looking sections here are thrusters, so that is awesome. A big old spike powered by jet engines. I love this. On top of that, this redesign is packing a little bit more heat. We've got these tiny removable blades. Only 2 of these actually come off. Those other ones stay on there, and now it looks kind of like a awesome spear. This is what the 2 little knives looks like, and that is a cool new little extra. I love that. Stabby, 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 stab, stab, stab. Anyway, there is an example of what the Barbatos will look like in an awesome pose with that awesome mace. And this weapon is so iconic. When it comes to Barbatos, there's nothing as iconic as the mace. The sword is awesome, but the mace is even more awesome. Also, there is a bit of a quick look at what it will look like with those 2 little blades equipped. And once again, this is a cool new little extra. I love when Bandai do little things like this right here. So lastly in here is the only ranged weapon the Barbatos comes with, which is the smooth bore gun. Now this is nice. It's in a light brown, a darker brown, white, and we do have 1 sticker there. It would have been nice to have a clear piece for in that, but we don't. It's just a sticker, but all in all, still very, very nice. As for moving parts, this handle can flip side to side just like so. There's a bit of an extension retraction gimmick right here. This little segment here can pop out and in like that. And of course the whole thing can pull out like this, flip around like this, and we have this nice little tucking section here that slots in there to hold it all nice and tight. And this is definitely rocking a lot more detail than what we would have seen in other kits before. So finally there is the Master Grade Gundam Barbatos with that smooth bore gun in a pose, and all I can say is this is one massive awesome weapon, and in general all the weapons that come with this kit are all top-notch quality and all look fantastic. Anyway, in here we also have some adapters for storing these on the unit. To do that you need to pop out these little segments here. There's one on either side. There is one. There is the second one. Now these little segments can slot in just like so. So that's a pretty cool way of attaching them. Just slot in the second one like so. And with these then you can store the weapons. For example, the sword just slots in like so, stored nicely on the back. With the mace we have these little segments here and these little segments here. Those also slot in just like that, so there is both of the close ranged weapons attached. So as for the smooth bore gun, this doesn't actually need one of these adapters. It can just slot in between those 2 parts itself, just like that right there. So that's what it looks like stored on the backpack. So essentially, because we've got 2 storage points on back and a couple of free hands, you can attach everything to the Barbatos all at the one time, and that is something I love. I love it when you can stick the entire loadout onto the kit at the one time. Next up then we've got this scale figure of Mikazuki, and honestly, isn't that a bit of a weird pose? It's a bit unfinished without, well, an Orga. I don't see why we'd ever get a 1/100 scale Orga, but I wouldn't mind seeing something with one of those in it. So the last thing we have in here then is the base adapter, so let's try that out, make sure it actually does what it's meant to. So let's spread his legs. That slides in from behind, just like that. And so far I can tell this works. Popping that into an action base. And yeah, that does its job absolutely and utterly perfectly. So now moving into the build and the articulation, and I'll mention the build on this is impressive. Compared to what we've seen before, this is definitely the best 1/100 scale Barbatos when it comes to the solidity of the build. Taking a look now through the articulation from the head down, of course it's got an awesome giggity, giggity, giggity goo going on in there. So the neck on this has 3 points of articulation. That's the one that is in the torso right there like that. We have your standard ball joint then at the base of the neck here. But then we've also got this other bit of articulation right there. It's hard to get sometimes. And that is inside underneath the head itself for those looking upward poses. That is brilliant. So there it is looking all the way up. There it is looking all the way down. And be careful, you do not lose that red piece. And speaking of having a whole lot going on, the shoulder is exactly the same. So this, compared to the body, can move out to the front like this. We do have those moving pistons there. That is fantastic. So the only real movement at the body is to the front. The shoulder armor is separate on a simple hinge, which allows it to move up like so. The arm can move up like that. That's as high as it will go without popping that armor off. And we do have that full rotation at the upper arm. We have another batch of full articulation here at the bicep zone. In the elbow, we've got 2 joints. That is the lower one, which moves like so. Then the upper one that moves like that. So that is a very nice bend at the elbow. More pistons in here. They do move quite nicely when you do bend the arm. So all in all, very, very intricate. The wrists on here are a 2-point system. So we've got rotation like this and a bend right here. So these are some strong, nice wrists. And of course, ball joint for the thumb. So at the waist now, for such a skinny boy, he doesn't have the greatest ab crunch and extension there. It's okay, but not the greatest. So there's to the front, and there's to the back. I would have liked it a little bit more than that, but it's not so bad. We also have side to side. If we zoom in there, you can see that does affect those pistons. They go in and out. Very, very nice. And down here then at this waist joint, this is a standard peg. It is not a ball joint, so that means it is only rotation there. And oh, yeah, maybe don't rotate that all the way around. The front skirting armor flaps, those are on ball joints, so they do exactly what you would expect with ball joints. Side skirts, then we've got some up and down there. This peg can rotate them forward and back out of the way. A Barbatos with a double premium butt flap. What an age we live in. That is so nice. For the hips, we've got this up and down motion. This isn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, mainly because when you actually raise this up, that means the angle of motion is now this way. Raise it down, it's now that way. So this could be a little bit better, but then again, not the worst. It's nice to have something. Out of that then, what we get from a kick all the way up to the front, let's drop that down. And it seems like that's all we're going to get, just a little above parallel to the ground. Bring it out a bit, you can get it a bit higher, but you have to bring it out. Around to the back then, that is pretty good. Once again, just above parallel to the ground. And as for the splits, it seems like it's got no problem whatsoever. Once again, there's another look at that dropping mechanism in the hip. Because of this raised bit of armor right here at the front, we do not have a full spin kick here, so no full rotation, just here to here. The knee bend is so awesomely designed. We've got these flaps here that drop down and out of the way of the bend, so we end up with this absolutely beautiful double jointed bend right here. Just look at that. I have to admit, I'm really impressed by that dropping armor gimmick. Whoa, and speaking of gimmicks, I almost forgot cockpit. So yeah, Barbie's cockpit can open up. Simple as that right there. And we've got that little Mikazuki inside. Down at the ankle now, we've got this little flap of armor that can move here. The ankle is nicely designed. This has a moving back and forward mechanism inside of it there. This part can unclip, move out of the way to give you even more, which I love. Once again, you can see the piston moves in and out while that bends. Very nice. No danger of that falling out on you. Barbatos has always had a very nice pivot down here side to side because of this little ball kind of drum design. That's pretty cool. At the toes then, we've got a pretty cool design. We've got a bend up just like this. And then down here, we've got a drop down like that. So all in all, this is pretty awesome. Let's check out that functional movement on the ground. So let's see what we can get without taking the foot off the ground. There it is all the way to the front. So that is very nice. Will be very nice for some dynamic poses. Bring that back. See how far back this can drop. So not too bad to the back. And as for that side to side, that is pretty good, but not as good as I was expecting. Never mind, I forgot to unclip this armor, which gives you more. So one more time, there it is, side all the way to side. So hey, that is impressive. Foot still firmly planted on the ground. If that was not enough already, there's a lot going on at the backpack. this thruster can move up and out like this. That looks very, very nice there. Close that back in, and we have these pull-out moving sections where the weapons can be attached. So these have 2 points of articulation, but I find this one little piston bit, which does actually have a bit of a little lip at the end there, that doesn't hold in as well as I hoped it would. But in here we've got a little bit of rotation here, down and up here, down and up right here too, rotation at this point, and another little hinge bit right here. So all in all, that is quite impressive, but the piston section could be a little bit stronger. So when it comes to the build and articulation on the Master Grade Barbatos, it is top notch. There are a couple of joints that I wish had a little bit more. The shoulders can pop off if you hyperextend the arms up too much, but on the whole, this thing is killer when it comes to articulation. Have to say, I am definitely 100% impressed. Anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this is one of those kits that I feel is teetering on the edge of gold to Gundarium tier. The reason is because, well, if you know my tiering system by now, and also I will mention I already said at the beginning what it is, so this is kind of a bit labored, but anyway. Silver means it's what I expect from a Master Grade, Gold means it goes above and beyond what I expect from a Master Grade, and Gundarium tier means it has transcended the grade. So in a way, a lot of this is very Master Grade as you'd expect, so for the most part I would say it's Gold tier besides what they have done with the Gundam frame on here. This is such an intricate designed frame, it's such a delicate yet at the same time has to deal with a lot of heavy parts kind of frame. They added all the pistons, they all move. The amount of tiny little intricate moving parts that interlock with each other in here is crazy, especially inside the torso. So to me, I feel this is bringing it above and beyond what I expect from Master Grade and almost transcending the grade. So I give this right here Gundarium tier. But anyway, all in all, this is awesome. The build quality is solid as a rock. I love the accessories in here. The reimagining of some of the weapons, like the mace, is crazy. This never fell apart on me at all during the whole review. Usually kits do, so that means it is impressive. The only thing that pops off occasionally is the shoulders if you lift the arms too high, but besides that, it is perfect. This does what the 1/100 couldn't and what the high resolution couldn't, and that is be fun. At the end of the day, to me, the best part of Gunpla after you finished building it is playing around with it. Can you get good poses? Yes, you can. Does it fall apart when you're doing them? No, it does not. Does it look absolutely and utterly awesome in a pose and just standing there? Yes, it does. This is a kit you need right now in your collection. If you do want one of your own, there's a link down there in the description. You can get yours at Hobby Link Japan. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much. I just hit 200k subscribers while I was reviewing this, so thank you so much to every one of you guys that watches my videos, likes my videos, etc. You make this possible, and I love you. But anyway, as always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time. Once again, all my thanks to each and every one of you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, this channel would not exist. So that's to everyone who watches these videos, hits that like button, and of course to those of you who support me on the channel memberships and Patreon, including Craig Jerry, Mark Wu, Kaiser721, Forged Horizons, Bolwick, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhart, Halo Creator, and Hank Handsome.